Hello, and welcome to Paid Search Fundamentals. My name is Matt Van Wagner, and I'm the president of Find Me Faster. We're a paid search marketing agency based in Nashua, New Hampshire, and we help clients in the B2B and B2B space be successful with advertising online. Today in this course, we're going to give you the fundamentals you will need to know in order to get started in paid search advertising. We're going to cover the basics. We'll explain to you what search engines are, how they work, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of keywords, bidding, writing ad copy, developing landing pages, and measuring your success through analytics. At the end of this course, what we hope that you'll be able to take home are a strong fundamental grounding in all the things you'll need to know to be successful. So get ready to take plenty of notes and hang on for the ride, because here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to mostly go at the conceptual level and try to give you the foundations by which you can understand what's going on in paid search, because it's such a rapidly changing area that if I tried to show you all the things that you needed to know, it would probably take an entire day's session. It would take a conference, I think, probably, right? Absolutely. So we're going to go over the fundamentals. So let me tell you first of all why I love PPC. Here's this little store up in Vermont called the Bebop Baby Shop, and they opened back in 2007. And if you're going to Google them, you won't find them anymore because the recession of last year kind of took a toll on a lot of retailers, online and offline. But back in 2007, it was a fresh business. They needed to get started, and their goal was to get some people in the store because they didn't really do internet stuff. They were really a local-based business. So 1 month later, after we started a campaign for them, they had 124,000 ad impressions, brought about 300 qualified visitors to their site, and it only cost them $185. They couldn't have advertised in a newspaper at that, to get that same amount of attention. And they actually opened very, very well. They were about 3 months ahead of what they projected they would be when they started the business. So, the really neat thing about paid search is that this simple little text ad shows only to the 10 people that actually live in that part of Vermont. Okay, so we were able to target very specifically around the area of Burlington, up actually into Canada, where the Canadian dollar was actually a little more interesting than the dollar was at that point. So we actually were finding people coming down from Montreal and what have you to shop at our store. Here's another reason why I love PPC. Everything you do, you can measure. Okay, it's do it, get feedback. Do it, get feedback. It's like real instant. So I took on a client back in 2006, and I told him, look, I think you are under-investing in paid search. We have the thought we maybe want to always keep our costs down, but sometimes you're actually not investing enough in a particular mechanism. So I said, look, Steve, I want you to take your hands off the wheel. Let me drive this campaign that you built over the last 2 years. Let's optimize it. And we drove spend up from $2,000 a month to over $10,000. Well, as we did that, the percentage of our ad spend to our revenues stayed flat. Okay, so if there are any economists in the room, you know that what happened then to the sales is that their revenues were just completely up to it was a what they call hockey stick growth. That was really fun. But we could measure all the stuff. And as a matter of fact, we could bring the reports down to Excel spreadsheets and make ourselves very happy by drawing pretty graphs that I could then show to people 4 years into the future, which was, I think, the most important part of that story. Now let's sort of differentiate the world. You've got PPC and you've got SEO. And oftentimes I hear people talking about, well, I don't want to do PPC, we're going to do SEO, or we're not going to do SEO, we're going to focus on PPC. But in fact, the two are not either or, it's sort of yin and yang. They're very complementary. Paid search allows you to get going very quickly. It allows you to discover what words convert. It also allows you to manage the risk of algorithm change. What's the most recent algorithm change that just came up?
The farmer update.
Farmer update. Okay. If you see anyone else around the show that has hair the same color as mine, and you mention the Florida update to them, they will physically recoil. Okay. Yes, maybe there's one of you that went through it, right? So Google is always trying to stay one step ahead of the spammers, as Microsoft is as well. On paid search, because they've got a relationship with you whereby you give them money, they don't change things quite so quickly and quite so aggressively and quite so surprisingly. There's a little bit of a relationship there. So the other thing about paid search, it gives you a predictable, dependable flow of traffic. Once you get these things dialed on, you spend $100, you get $100 worth of clicks, and your site converts the way it's going to convert. So it's very predictable. Another reason I love PPC is that even if you have position #1 in the organic rankings, it may not be the message that you want at the top of the search rankings, and you have no control. You have little control over that. There are some things you can do. But basically, you write the ads for the messages you want to give to your audience, and you determine what page they're going to land on your site first for. So pretty cool stuff. So we're going to go over paid search. We're going to give you an overview. Paid search. We're going to talk about keywords. Those are the things that trigger ads. We're going to talk about ads. Those are the things that keywords trigger. These are really, really short text or graphic ads. There are also other styles too, flash and video and what have you. We're going to talk about bids and try to figure out how much are you willing or how much are you able really to spend on paid search to get your clicks and conversions. We'll take a little talk about landing pages. But I think the thing that I want you to be thinking about as we're talking today is this is not about where you are today. This is about getting better every day. Because once you put your ads up there, your competitors see them. I mean, you see your competitors' ads, right? So they can see yours. People will eventually figure out what keywords you're bidding on, and they'll eventually figure out approximately what bid you've got. Okay? So your advantage is not in any particular moment in time. Your advantage in paid search is making sure that every day you take and apply what you've learned from the day before to tweak your campaigns, to bid differently, to change your website, whatever the case may be. So it's all about measuring and continuous process improvement. It's like a machine. You put the stuff in, you tweak it here, you get good stuff out. So back in 2009, the top 3 engines, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, accounted for about 96% of the search market. Here we are in 2011, and it's pretty much the same thing. Google is, of course, a runaway. So if I direct a lot of my comments at Google's AdWords platform, it's only because of the heft that they have in this marketplace. But we're going to really focus today only on Google and their AdWords platform, and Microsoft in their Ad Center platform. And Ad Center delivers traffic to both Bing and to Yahoo. Okay? Maybe you already know that, but I figured I'd throw it out there. So what are search engines? What happens during search? Well, basically, when you come to a search engine, there's a box there, and a user types a query. And we're going to talk about the thing that the user types in as a query and the things we buy as keywords, as we talk about in the presentation today. And when they do this, they are in an active mental mode. They are seeking information. They are looking for something. And they type it into that search bar, and they expect to find some results. There are also websites around the internet that accept ads. And these ads are sort of ubiquitous. But they're different than paid search because users do not type queries in. They encounter these ads as they're doing something else. You're surfing the net, and your mode when presented with an ad is really, it's more passive. You're engaged in other material. And for example, this is the New Hampshire Business Review. I'm from New Hampshire, and so I get my daily dose of business news here. And there are all sorts of ads that surround all the content. Sometimes I notice them. On a Friday, I might notice the ad for margaritas and go down and have a drink after work, right? So those ads are valuable, but they're different because someone isn't actually typing in looking for something. The search ads appear to the top of the organic listings. They appear to the right of the organic listings. On Bing, they appear above, to the right, and then also down below. Ditto on Yahoo. Okay, there's an example. So this is the way the paid search ads appear on the search engines. However, through Google and through Bing, you can also buy ads that will appear on those websites that exist around the internet. And the better you target your ad to a particular site, the more successful you'll be. And a lot of this isn't rocket science, by the way. If it was, I wouldn't be in the business. Here's a site, and it's I love French wine, and the ads that appear are about the French wine tour and about French wines. Pretty good. Here's some more contextual ads. Again, going to look for, you know, how to make my favorite drink. And it's not a very good looking site, but who cares? As long as they can tell me how to make a good cocktail, I don't care what their site looks like. But do you think that's a well-placed ad? Nah, those things are all over the place. They become invisible after a while. So you can do well, you can also do very poorly in targeting. And, you know, these guys advertise, so maybe they make money at it, I don't know. Now, in your paid search campaigns, man, it's like you're the genius of Madison Avenue. I mean, you are madmen. I mean, you are all madmen. You get to control an unbelievable, powerfully advertising network from your desktop. This is what those guys used to do and charge clients all sorts of money back on, you know, in the days of that show. But you can target geographically. You can show ads particular times of day, only days of the week. You can track demographics, young, old, male, female, okay? Device types, mobile browsers versus, you know, desktops. And you can even do some level of behavioral targeting. And this gets into that whole creepy type of advertising, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it's just creepy, you know. You search on a site or you buy something, and all of a sudden these ads follow you all around. You know, I bought my wife, you know, what are those hoodie footy things? I bought my wife one of those for Valentine's Day because, you know, it's winter in New Hampshire, and she said those things look so warm. She got it to make her look like the Easter Bunny, #1. They're just crazy, crazy dumb looking. But then for the next 3 weeks, I'm getting all sorts of ads presenting as I'm traveling through the internet on all sorts of lingerie, bras, you know, blah, blah. It's like, really, guys? You can't figure out that half the people that are buying things for their, you know, loved one, you know, are not going to necessarily be buying these other things. But at any rate, that's all. But you have all these abilities to target, and if you do it right, you can actually do very, very well. So, you know, there's a map of Canada. You can segment by, you know, by region or by territory, by province. You know, if you only are competing in the southeast of the United States, only advertise there. For example, I have one guy, and they make bulk plastic parts. Their ability to be competitive diminishes as the trucks drive further away from their headquarters to the south side of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, man, but they can really compete in that area. So we say, all right, well, let's really make sure we win in that area. Let's not worry about advertising the world. Let's own our territory. You can pick by, you know, state. You can bid up or bid down based on your various geographies. Again, by the way, these are all, I'm just only showing a few screenshots from the interfaces because they change every day. They change every 10 minutes, you know, so I just wanted to give you a general feel for the types of things that you can do. But basically, you have complete control over when your ads get delivered. You know, if you know that people are online shopping between 11 and 1, you know, if you read the anthropology of a retail shopper, you know that online behavior is still patterned after, you know, people's disposition to go out shopping during lunchtime. Target those ads and bid them up. So you have complete control over this stuff. And note, by the way, if you're doing advertising on both Google and Bing, that they actually, the way they do their scheduling and their time zones is different. I won't go into details, but there are a lot of sessions around this week where, you know, you might ask a question or two. You can target by men, women, young and old. I have a lot of clients that are in the elder care space, okay? I'm not so interested in people that are 18 to 24, maybe not even so much in the 25 to 34. I'm mostly interested in folks that are about my age that are caring for their elderly parents that are, you know, becoming of an age where we've got to think about those sorts of issues. You know, various, I won't go into that, but you can target to your target demographic. So the world is your oyster, okay? So the question is, how do search engines actually work, okay? So I'm going to take you through how they work and give you a sort of a conceptual look at it. We'll kind of go through what an auction is, how ads get selected, answer a question like, does the highest bid always get the top spot? Does it? What do you think? Okay, you guys already know all these questions. These are, how much does it cost to show my ad, and what's the best ad position? Anybody got a theory on that? Two? Wrong. What? I don't know. I don't know if there's any answer to that question. The best is what's economically delivers the best results for you. But we'll talk about that, okay? So let's think about the constituencies involved in search engines. So there's you and the search engine. Like last year, I was working on the Schumann Dichte Liebe song cycle. And so I was looking for a CD to kind of hear somebody do it that knows what they're doing. Searched on Bing. What they do is they delivered my results, and they didn't show me any ads. There are no ads on that screen. Why not? Well, it also didn't give me, I wanted to buy a CD. No CDs, okay? So I didn't like that result, so what I did was I put the word CD on the end, and did my search again, and the search engine said, that seems to have commercial intent, So I'm going to pull in my advertising database, and they give me an ad or two, and sure enough, the next thing that comes up is an ad that's got a CD on it. Great, that's the way they work. And then once we've done that, once we've established that relationship, I'm not so interested in the search engine anymore. I really go to the advertiser's website, and off I go. So, I mean, this is not rocket science, and this is not surprising. But I think fundamentally, you need to understand that, what you're trying to do, what the search engines are trying to do, and what the advertisers are trying to do. So, to answer the question, what's the best position? Well, the other question is, what is the position? Okay. Sometimes they're up top, above the results, sometimes to the right. And they call the positions that are on the right, position number 1. They also call the positions that are up top, position number 1. So if you get a report from Google or Microsoft, the standard reports, you don't actually know where your ads are appearing, okay? You can get that data, but it takes a little more digging. But in general, what I will tell you is that, in general, the higher your ads appear on the search engines, the more likely they will get clicked, and the more you're going to pay. That's a general rule of thumb. So if you wanted to save some money on the paid search, tell them to reduce the position by a point or two and see how it goes. So in your perfect world, if you want to know how a search engine works, here's what your perfect world looks like as an advertiser. Let's say you got a keyword and you got maximum bids. You're selling widgets. Here's your ad. It's about blue widgets. Here's your website. It's all about blue widgets. Okay? All right, so it's even better. A user types in a search query onto their search engine of choice. They come up with a search results page, and by golly, you're the only advertiser. Isn't life wonderful? You got nothing but open field running on this thing. And of course, because that's the case, then you also pay probably less than 10 cents for that click. Man, but unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. We have different desires. The search engines have different desires. So here's what search engines want. Okay, and let's take words out of this, and let's just use colors, just because words kind of have meanings, and colors have different types of associations in your brain. So let's say you could search on the color blue. A search engine would say this is the best possible result you can have on a search for the color blue. Blue, a little less blue, blue jaded, and then blue faded. Okay, all in rank order. Very cool. Now, however, advertisers really don't, a lot of times they don't really care about their ecosystem. All they want is to be the top dog. They want to be at the top, and they want to pay to get to the top. So you've typed in blue, and you only get 1 out of 5 of your ads that show up as blue. And one of them's probably well, it's not a Viagra ad, but it's probably a Ditech ad. You know what ads are always showing up for stupid things, right? So that's not a very good search experience. So what we've got to do is come up with a hybrid solution, and that's what basically a search engine auction is all about. It's trying to balance the desires of the advertisers with the desires of the search engines with the desires of the users, okay? So they come up with this thing called quality scoring and ad ranking. And basically they take 3 things into account: the relevancy of the ad to the keyword, the historical performance of your ad, because every time someone clicks on it, that's like a vote. It says, yeah, okay, I typed an ad, I clicked on it, so you're voting, okay? That seems like a reasonable thing to do. But as well, it also takes into account your maximum bid price, because if you want to pay to be number 1, you still can. Sometimes you got to pay a lot to get there. So here's how a Vickery second price auction works, and which is what the fancy academic name is for like the Google auction network. And let's say that they've assigned quality scores, just pulling some numbers out of the air. And we take those bids on the various types of things. So the question is, who wins the top spot in a quality score environment? Well, what happens is they determine the rank of the ads by the quality score times the max bid. The quality score usually contains the relevancy and its historical performance. Okay, so let's see what happens. Well, 2 times 90, 1.8. Okay, he goes up to the top. He's got the highest ad rank, which is score. This other ad, which doesn't seem to be anything to do with it, wins because he bid $6, right? Poor quality score, 0.25, but high bid. Fuchsia comes in with a $4 bid and a crappy quality score, and they managed to get to position number 3. And blue, well, they only bid $1, but they've got a really high quality score, so they make it into the auction, and then there's green. Okay? So that's approximately the way an auction works to combine the needs of users and search engines. Now the question is, who pays what? Okay? Because it's not the case that the guy in the first place pays the most. So what they actually do is they come up with a ranking algorithm, and I won't go through it, but I'll just tell you that this is not an uncommon type of situation, where the person at top may be paying 1/3 of what the person in position number 2 is paying, because they write good ads, they're buying the right keywords, they've got good, historical performance. Google says, I like you, because you're presenting relevant results. And Google says to the second guy, I like you too, but I like you because you're paying me a lot of money, okay? So this is kind of how search engine works. So the real lesson and the takeaway from this is that just don't worry about that crap. Don't worry about quality score and gaming this and gaming that. Write really great ads that are relevant, bid reasonably, and you'll get you'll be reasonably successful. So the question is, how does one get started? Well, the first thing you got to do is define, what are you trying to achieve? As Yogi Berra used to say, we're lost, but we're making good time. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to know where you want to end up. So, is your goal leads? Is it sales calls? Is it to build your brand? By the way, if an ad agency comes to you and wants your business and they tell you they can help you build your brand, basically that generally means they don't know what they're doing because they can't measure anything. I mean, that's a generalized statement. I'm an ad agency, but I know that anytime I have a campaign that fails, it's always got some good branding out of that. I shouldn't have told them that little secret, should I? You probably won't hire me after that. Well, if you hire me, if I say brand building, fire me, okay? All right, so the other question is, how do you define success? Some people don't have an online component, like the Bebop Baby Store. People need to walk into the store to buy things. You're measuring online or offline. Or maybe you want to measure steps on the path towards a conversion. One of our clients was a company that built Post and Beam homes. Well, Post and Beam's homes, the sales cycle is like a gravity wave. I mean, it's 3 to 4 years. People are thinking about it. They go acquire land. They play around with Lego blocks and build the home of their dreams. They engage an architect. They do this. By the time, there's probably 4 years in that sales cycle. So you can't measure the final conversion, but you can measure when they downloaded your book on design. You can download and measure when they signed up to come visit your model home, et cetera, et cetera. So you can measure all these things. And now the question is, how do you measure it? You can measure all this stuff. AdWords and AdCenter both give you free tracking tools. A little JavaScript you put on particular pages of your website, and they measure someone's completion of a goal. So if you're signing up for a newsletter, they sign up, they give you everything, you come to a thank you page, bang, they're counted as a conversion. Okay? A conversion might be that just someone goes to find the address of your local store. Maybe you're a national chain. Okay? So maybe you want to count as a conversion anytime people touches your local store page. It might not be worth the same as a purchase, but it has some value, right? They may download a demo. They may download a white paper. You can assign economic values to all these things, and you can measure them. Google offers analytics for free. There are tons and tons of other great analytics tools that are out there. But sometimes people just measure success by whether or not the phone is ringing. And that's a valid metric, as long as you can somehow tie it to what you're spending on a monthly basis. But the real measure is, are you increasing your company's sales and profits? So measure actions, not just whether you're getting high click-through rates or you're paying low cost per clicks. So, take a little drink here. How are we doing so far? Am I talking at an okay pace? Okay, great. So this is a basic structure, a schema of a PPC account. Basically, you have campaigns, you have ad groups. Ad groups contain keywords and, of course, no surprise, ads. How does that look? Does that look like the complete structure of an ad, of a campaign, of an account? Is there anything missing here? You know that's a rhetorical question because you know something's missing now, right? What's missing in this structure? Did I hear somebody say landing page? Yeah, I think I make sure that you include your website as part of the feedback cycle in how you're thinking. Don't get myopic and just think about what's happening inside of Google, because it's what's happening as part of the whole system that's important. Okay, we're going to move on to keywords. Keywords. Keywords are what we buy. Search queries are what people type into a search bar. Basically, keywords, we'll talk about how you might think of them, but the most important thing that you need to know about keywords is this thing called match types. Match types define how loosely or tightly a search engine is going to match you against a search query. And if it's broad, they will match you against plenty of stuff. You'll get a lot of traffic. If it's phrase, that means that they're going to match you only against those queries that match your word in the same word order. Okay? So blue widgets, if that's the search query, and you've bought blue widgets in your campaign, that'll match. If the search query is blue and green widgets, that will also, that'll also, no, excuse me, that won't. If they buy blue widgets for sale, if that's the search query, you will also match on that. So it can be the search query plus things before and after it. The third type of match type is what they call exact. If and only if it 100% matches the search query, will my keyword trigger an ad. Okay? So basically, you just think of it as a little traffic, good traffic, a lot of traffic. And you use them interchangeably depending on whether you're trying to find your market or whether you're trying to refine your market. Then the fourth match type is this thing called negative match. Negative match says, look, I only sell blue widgets. I don't want to match on something that says blue and red widgets because we don't have any of the red widgets. So you put red as a negative word and your ad won't show for that query. So here's how it works. Let's say wedding cakes, that will only match one and only one word, only one search query. What search query will that match? Anyone? Anyone? Oh man, this is the smartest. Literally, I want to thank you. This is literally the smartest boot camp crowd I have ever experienced. I can just feel, the immense intellectual energy coming at me. Thank you for that wonderful answer. Phrase match. Okay, so the word, if you bought the word phrase, you bought the word wedding cakes, what you will match on is anything that includes wedding cakes, words that come after it, words that come before it. So from exact match that showed only one match, now you're matching on several dozens. Broad match, on the other hand, doesn't matter which order. It could be cakes for a wedding, cakes, cupcakes for a wedding cupcakes. It can be anything. You can see a lot of weird matches there, okay? Some which are not appropriate. Okay, so the typical way you use broad, phrase, and exact match might be this. At the beginning of your campaign, you don't know what you're doing. You don't want to do keyword discovery. You just open up broad match, and then you look at your web logs, and when you see traffic that you don't like, you put a negative term up, or you change it to a phrase match. But it allows you to start to build, and find the middle of your market quickly. Broad match will always be your most expensive cost per acquisition. Exact matches will always give you your best return on investment. Okay. Oh, and broad match will also pick up misspellings, as you can see here. Wedding cake with one D. It doesn't pick up all misspellings, but it picks up a lot of frequent misspellings. Okay. And Google also has this thing called expanded broad match, where they might match wedding cakes on anniversary cakes, which probably is not a good match, right? So, how do you build a keyword list? Well, the first thing is start with your own brain, and you guys, as I just mentioned, have amazing capacity, so you've got a lot of words in those brains. Just start writing them down. It's like you're playing Scramble online on Facebook, right? You just find all the words that relate to your market. What words or phrases describe what you're promoting? What words do you use? What words, more importantly, do your clients and people that don't know who you are use? Because you may say the word 52-inch television set, but nobody goes and say, I'd like to buy a 52-inch television set. They say 52-inch Sony TV or something like that. So just make sure that the words you're buying match the words that people are searching on. Buy synonyms, buy misspellings. Keep track of negative words as you're making your list, ones that you say that is often associated with TV, but I don't want that word. And when you're building lists, don't worry about building something that's 18 words long. Sony 52-inch TV. That's a 4-word phrase, right? Sony 52-inch TV. That's long. That's actually pretty long. Stick for the most part when you're getting started with 2- and 3-word phrases. Don't, if you can, avoid single-word keywords. Usually they're just a real expensive way to waste money. And absolutely buy your own brand names. I often get asked, should I buy my competitors' brand names? Well, sure, if you want to, but be careful because trademark law is still evolving on that. I just wrote a little piece on trademarks and a recent legal case where someone actually got fined $292,000 for bidding on their competitors' keywords. Okay, got to be careful. So when you're creating keyword lists, let's say you run a pet store, so you just write down all the dogs that you see in your cages there. And then once you've done that, what you do is you organize them into logical organizations. Labrador, Shepherds, Retrievers, and Pugs. So that's pretty much the process for taking and refining a keyword list. You just try to get as specific as you possibly can. It used to be that when Deesa and I first got started in this business, keyword discovery was one of the high arts, and that's where we got paid a lot of money to go discover those keywords that were high volume. You know what? Because you're new to this business, you're not stuck in your old ways of thinking. Google has great tools. Microsoft has great tools. WordStream's got great tools. Keyword discovery is almost the least part of your problem. Okay, that you should be able to do that in less than a day. You can look at SpyFu and keyword competitors, see what your competitors are advertising on, as long as you don't make the assumption that they're doing it right. They may be buying the wrong terms. Okay, use it for reference, but don't use it as gospel. And then once you get these words, you want to concatenate them into logical groupings. And I use this software, and it's really dumb, but aside from Excel, it's probably the piece of software I use most when I'm building a campaign. Basically, what it allows you to do is to say, here's a word, bang, combine them together. Okay, it lets you build out big keyword lists pretty quickly. It's called Rapid Keyword. There are other tools that are out there that do it as well. I think Boxer has the Permutator, and a few others that are out there. All right, so that's a little bit about keywords. Now, once you've got the keywords and you've decided what you want to bring people into your site for, you got to start to write ads. We're going to talk about text ads for the most part here. It's easy and difficult to write text ads. I mean, we all speak the language that we advertise in, but boy, it just seems when you try to reduce an ad down to that haiku that Google and Ad Center try to make you fit into, somehow you get crippled. But here's an ad for medical alerts. The search query is medical alerts. No, the search query is I've fallen, help I've fallen. But these are all the people that make the devices, that elders wear. Okay, look at the wide variety of styles that are here. I mean, this is terrific landscape. First-person story. I'll be safe here at home. I've got the Lifeline button and can get help if I need it. That's the mother talking to usually the youngest daughter, who's usually the caregiver. Trusted authority. We are top-rated medical alert. They're grabbing authority. Price appeal. If you're the price leader, go for it. $29.95, $19.95. Convenience. 800 numbers of convenience. Or people are often searching the internet. They're hungry for information. Learn more. Get information, great. We're different. Oh, here's another one. I love these ones. Down to the bottom right. Vital Link Medical Alert. No marketing hype, no sales gimmicks. Our concern is keeping people safe, not like those other guys, right? I mean, it's kind of a negative message. I haven't seen them in 2 years. That's probably why. So which of these is the best ad? They're all really good. They're all hitting at different points, so they're all good. So when you want to write great ads, first of all, you got to think of who are you selling to? You're not selling to that group of people. You're selling to someone in that group of people. And who is it? Okay? Who's doing the buying? Who influences that buying decision? And who is it actually for? Like, for example, I bought my wife one of those hoodie footies that she returned in a week. They should be messaging to guys like me that are not too dumb and think that, you know, when Valentine's Day you should buy something nice for your wife that involves, you know, pajamas. I don't know. But, you know, think about who you're selling to and what motivates them, right? Speak directly to one of those people. So when you're writing ads, put someone in your mind. You know plenty of people. Think about who you're actually writing for. Put someone in your mind. Create a persona. And then you've got to get right what it is that you're selling, okay? Now, here are a bunch of things that sell into the elder care space. Medical ID watch, pill cases. I don't know what that thing on the right is, but they're medication reminders of some sort. So when somebody types in medication reminders, they may be looking for these things, but what they are really looking for is independence for their mother, safety in the home, their kids can live a normal life, they have a happy baby, they have a nice relationship with their people. So people do things because they love people, they want to help people, they want to do things faster, better. You need to speak to things that motivate, the types of things that motivate you. Okay, so now once you've gotten that in your ad, make sure that you're selling what they're buying. Don't just sell features, sell benefits. So yeah, it's fast, easy to use, discount, blah, 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 blah. Hey, organize your pills better. You know, take charge of your own health. Keep your parents well connected. This is the difference between features and benefits. Benefits sell, okay? And don't just stop at benefits, go to creative benefits. A benefit is, we'll remind you if you're hard of hearing, a creative benefit that talks right to a user is, hey, vibrating pill reminder, works even when mom's TV is blaring away at 56, right? Or dad's turned his hearing aid off. And here's some tips for writing great ads. First of all, if you've been doing analysis, you've been doing keyword building, you've been doing this and that, you've got to get out of your left brain and get over to your right brain. You need to get into your creative brain. So go for a walk, sort of purge your, clear your mind, laugh, sing a song, doodle, smoke dope, whatever you want to do, whatever, gets you to that creative place, okay? And I can say that in California, right? Because you're actually allowed to do that out here, is that right? Does anybody have any, by the way? All right, thanks. But whatever it takes, but just recognize that you don't go from manipulating stuff in Excel to writing great ad copy. It just ain't going to happen. You need to shift gears, as they say. Don't start writing in Excel spreadsheets counting every character. Start with storytelling. I like to just go tell someone a story, Talk out loud to yourself, to someone else. Go listen to your sales team. They tell great stories. On the phone, your salespeople have honed communication to a high art. Some of it's even true, right? And use the stuff that works and it's actually, won't get you in regulatory trouble. And I say try what I call a non-verbal zero draft. And this is hilarious. When you start typing something in your computer, you start correcting, your misspellings and you put commas in and the capitalization and everything else. Well, that's getting in the way of your creative process. So what I do is I turn my monitor off and I just start typing away, okay? And I just start typing away until I come up with a couple of ideas. And once I've got a couple of ideas, then I go into turning it on and now I've gotten myself out of regulating myself to being free and creative. Whatever it takes for you guys to get creative. But when you want to write great ads, there's some technical things you should do. Headlines. Use your keywords in your headlines as much as you can. It's simple, and it actually makes your ad more relevant. And write dozens and dozens of headlines until you find you like them. And write them very differently. Don't just keep going around in tight little circles, save $25, $25, save now. Now, save $25. Get yourself into different message units, okay? But basically, what I like to think about is, how am I going to save you money? How am I going to save you time? How am I going to improve your life? If I can tell that story with a keyword in the headline, bang, I've got a good ad. Some great words to use, find, compare, save, new, improved, easy, whatever. Plenty, you can think of 1,000 of them. What are some other good words you can put in the headline? With best, okay? You can use best in some cases. Anyone? First? Cheapest, bluest, whatever. think about your own products, but there are always great words you can put in headlines. Now, once you've written a headline into the ad copy, also consider using your keywords. But don't keyword stuff, because that looks like a machine built an ad. It's obnoxious. Same concepts, save time, save money, improve your life. Try full sentences to the extent you can. Google actually just announced something this morning at the conference. They're actually going to try to recognize when your first line of copy contains a full sentence. And what they'll do is, when it's in the premium space, they'll put it up along the headline. So you get the headline and your first line all at the top of the search engine. It's very cool. So a sentence can be just basically, subject, verb, object. It can just be subject, verb, Learn more, right? Use idioms when appropriate, but don't get too crazy about that. Sometimes you'll have real funny ads, but sometimes they're best left off of the internet. Don't be gimmicky. Now, there are some cases when you got words that have more than one meaning. Those things are called homonyms, where you're sort of overlapping in someone else's keyword space that has nothing to do with what you're doing. For example, home care. That could be coming in to help an elder. It could be taking care of your home. So make sure that your ad filters out those people not thinking that they're getting one and not the other. So it's not always the case that you want to have the highest click-through rate. Sometimes in some keyword spaces, you just want to have the right click-through rate. Because it's not the fact that you're getting clicks, it's getting the right clicks. Okay. Now, all right, so I'm going to ask you a question now, so get ready to answer the thing. Which of these ads is performing better? Anyone? What's that? You don't know? Anyone got a better answer than that? Okay. Well, let's go along a little bit. We got 62 clicks, 6% click-through rate, $1.67, 4.6. Well, why isn't the 6? Isn't 6 higher than 4.6? Doesn't matter. What's that? One served 57% of the time. Your worst ads serve 50% of the time. That's not good, is it?
It costs you more, too.
And it costs you more. So Google, daggone it, they're serving my worst ad and they're charging me more for it. Okay? The answer actually is you don't know because you don't have enough data on that question. And if you let it run till it actually gets a chance to get even rotation, the situation might change around quite a bit and you find out actually there's no clear winner in this case. Except one is only costing 89 cents and one's costing you $1.18. That's worth looking at. That probably means your keyword list is unfocused. There's probably too much diversity in your keyword list when you get that sort of diversity on an ad price. So which is the best ad now? Yell it out. You don't know? Sorry, say it again? Dynamite? Dynamite? Are we all in favor of dynamite? All in favor of beep beep? Agnostics? Well, I don't know. Remember what I told you earlier on, is don't just measure click-through rate and don't just measure CPC. It's really, the question is, which one converts best? And what do we got? Daggone it, beep beep's the winner in this made-up world. So the key story here is on ads is write great ads, watch small sample sizes, don't make decisions too quickly, and track conversions, not just click-throughs. You can also do graphical ads. You can have great fun. As a matter of fact, Google has rolled out unbelievably cool tools to build ads quickly, powerfully. I mean, again, you can be the genius of Madison Avenue right at your own desktop. You get banner ads, you get video ads, you got mobile ads. We're not going to touch on those today, but there's a whole world of things you can do that will help do something that text ads have a hard time doing. It's hard to establish a brand or need for a new product with a text ad. Sometimes you need imagery. You need to do comparisons that you can only do visually. So if you're rolling out something that the world has never seen before, sometimes graphic ads are your only way online to be able to do that. So let's get into bidding. Now, Basically, they're really just three sort of acronyms that you need to be conversant on when it comes to bidding. CPC, CPA, and CPM. Okay? CPC generally means cost per click. Okay? CPA means cost per conversion. Okay, we couldn't use CPC for that one too because cost per click had already taken it. So most people call it cost per action or cost per acquisition, whatever the case may be. But it might be CPO, cost per order, CPL, cost per lead, CP, whatever. Everybody's got different internal vernacular. But in the search engines, CPA actually has a meaning, which is you're going to pay based on how much it costs how much you're willing to bid to actually get the action you're looking for. So cost per click means it says, I'm willing to pay as much as $1 for every time someone clicks on my ad. CPA means that Google, I'm not going to pay you a cent. I mean, I want to get to a particular cost per acquisition. I can only take leads and pay $5 for them. So I'm willing to bid $5. Give me all the traffic you can find at that cost per acquisition, and they will try to do that for you. And if you don't do that automatically through Google or whatever, that's the goal of campaign management. Somehow you've got to get your costs under control. The other bidding option is cost per 1,000 impressions. It doesn't matter whether a single person clicks on it. It's just how many times it's seen. And this can be very powerful. It's in the display network. It's in the content network where you use this. Because when you're showing up on websites like the New Hampshire Business Review or that Buzzle site or whatever, the bartending site, maybe it's the power of the number of times your ad's presented that creates the brand, right? That creates search terms. And actually, Dave Satella, who wrote a book, PPC in an Hour a Day, which I highly recommend to you. He wrote it with Joe Kirschbaum and two other guys. But he's actually shown where by advertising and getting enough impressions on a particular word, they notice that and if it's your brand term, Gibson guitars, for example, you get more searches on the search engines for that term. So you're building awareness, you're building impression volume out there, you're buying it by 1,000, and you actually see the result not from that ad, but you see it through paid search or organic search later on. So those are your three bidding options. And now you got to figure out how much can you afford to bid. All right, so this is just something you can do in Excel, but you need to do this. So you start out with, well, what am I willing to pay for whatever it is that I'm doing? Let's say you want people to download a white paper, because you know that your salespeople love to talk to people that have downloaded a white paper. And let's say you're willing to pay as much as $5 for that. Okay, great. That's a great starting point. So then you say, all right, well, do you know what your site conversion rate is now? If you don't, make one up and guess, and then refine it as you go. What's your offline close ratio? How many times do you get a demo that you actually close it? And can you translate that to your revenue? So if you can't get the numbers from your analytics when you start, which you probably can't, make something up, your best guess, and then as you get data, refine your guesses and get better at forecasting. So in this case, we found out that our site would convert at about 5%. About 5% of the people that came to the site did what we wanted them to do. So that's the guess we took. Well, that means we're going to need at least 20 clicks in order to get enough people through to our site to get that. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And how much can you afford to pay for that? Well, if it's 20 clicks, it's the most you can pay is 25 cents per click. Okay, you've just established the maximum you're willing to bid on a particular keyword. Okay? Now this is very fine-tuned into a particular word, and it's not quite as simple as that, but this calculation, either generally or half generally or very specifically, needs to be part of all the calculations you do when you're doing paid search. How much am I paying? How much am I making? What are my rates? And where are my rates falling down? Where are my rates going up? Okay? So simple stuff that you can do on the back of a napkin or in an Excel spreadsheet, but you need to do it. Okay? Is this sort of, are you guys doing this now? Or do you kind of know what it costs you to, what an action is? Okay. Then someone asks, well, how much should I budget for paid search? Well, then you just, continue the same exercise, and you just project out. So, if you're in a corporation, someone says, well, what should we budget next year? Well, you take the data you've just accumulated over the last few months and you project out and say, well, look, I believe that if you spent $150,000 that you would get this return on investment, blah, 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 okay? But these are all calculations that are very important to what you're doing because they determine how much you can bid how many words how many places you can be. Okay. I'm going to take a quick look at landing pages. A landing page really can be any page on your site, by the way. It can be your home page. In the case of single product companies or single service companies, your home page is often your hardest working page. It's the page you put the most design and creativity into. It's often your best page for a single product or service company. But when you are JCPenney or a large retailer, that's not really bringing people to the right place. So what you want to do on a landing page is when you know what word they searched on. So if they searched on blue sweaters, women's, extra small blue sweaters, make sure you bring them at least into a category page or to a SKU page, right? I mean, that's, again, we're not talking rocket science. So here's lobster.com, online retailer. They sell mail order lobster. By the way, the very first click that Google ever put out on the internet was an ad for mail order lobster. That was their very first AdWords click when they were doing experiments. They put it out there, and 10 minutes later, someone had put an order for online lobster. And so this is actually kind of, not only is lobster, a 20-million-year-old crustacean, it's also, the very first ad that was in our marketplace. A little trivia for you. So any page can be a landing page, okay? Use properly built web pages, especially when it comes to Microsoft, okay? They take that into account. Make sure that you've got an About Us, you've got a security certification right, you've got title, you've got tags, that the keyword, as much as it can, will appear on the page. Make sure the metadata is all properly constructed, right? These all count towards relevancy. On Google, their quality score looks at your landing page, and they just says, sucks or it doesn't suck. And if it doesn't suck, they let you throw ads at it. Okay? If it sucks, they make you, oh, excuse me. If it stinks, they make you keep it offline. Pardon my vulgarity there. The real key is to make sure the users can get to what they want in 1 or 2 clicks. Okay? So wherever you bring them. And the other thing is, if you're just getting started, just get started. Master the basics. Get fancy with dynamic landing pages and building 10 different types of campaign experiments to say whether, should I show bisque or should I show, should I show tarragon or should I show, chives in my bisque? I mean, before you do finely granular tests on anything, make sure you get the gross stuff right. So let's just ask you a question. What's the best landing page? Here's lobster.com. They sell online lobsters. That's the main thing. But they also have beautiful chowders and bisques. So here's one page. Boy, does that make your mouth water? Here's another one. I didn't eat lunch. I forgot to eat lunch. You guys already ate. These things probably don't mean anything to you. I'm salivating right now. Or was this guy, Rock, who can beat the living daylights out of the Gorton's fishermen? Which of those landing pages should we send? If it's just for selling lobster, what should we send them to? What do you think? Any opinions? Second one? Yeah. Well, there is no right answer to that. The answer is, if you think you don't know the answer and 3 people say 3 different things, test them. Throw traffic, see how they do. But I do have to tell you that I took this problem to one of my friends who's a neuro-linguistic marketer, and he's got a patent. He's actually got 2 patents on reading virtual minds. His name is Joseph Carabas, and he's just an unbelievable guy out there. I said, Joseph, what do you think of this picture? He said, well, what I would do is, if I were selling this to someone, I would put a lobster in that guy's hands, because right now it's a threatening picture, and the first thing when you encounter this page is, your reptilian brain says danger. Because this guy's, I mean, he's looking to go, right? He's looking to go. Dark clouds in the background, cold. This is not inviting. I said, all right, well, how about this one? He said, all right, if you really want to sell this, what you need to do is you need to have a woman's hand in this, maybe a ring, just make sure there's some fingernails there, because guys are going to be thinking about, taking their loved one out to dinner. And a woman is not going to be wanting to look at a guy's hands, typically, right? I mean, I don't know what he was just telling me all the neuropsychology stuff about it. And, the answer is there's probably a right answer somewhere. But if you don't know, test, right? Theories are, worth the paper they're printed on, right? So the whole idea in landing pages, you don't have to start to buy a landing page generator or get really deep into this to start. All you need to do is to choose one appropriate page on your site or two. And then resources and process. Look, I told you up front, it's not about what you're doing today. Okay? It's what you're doing that gives yourself a continuing advantage with people. It's not just about the keywords, ads, and bids. It's how you use these things and refine and get better and better every day. So what you need to do is you need not to look at this once a week or once a month. What you need to do is you just need to spend a little bit of time with it every day and spend it doing focus time. And if you want a great tool that'll help you be a taskmaster, is go to Brad Geddes' site, which is just look up Brad Geddes. But he's got a set of search tools that are out there. It will actually give you a schedule of when to do various things during the month. You know, check this on this week, check this on that week. So it just gives you sort of a little running list. It's sort of like having a personal trainer, but for your paid search campaigns. And I think it's like only $10 a month or something. It's terrific. It's like having me in your office. Now that's going to cost you more than $10 just in coffee.
Certified knowledge?
Certified knowledge, thank you. Go to the certified knowledge site. So process is what's going to create your sustainable advantage. The better and better you get over time. Use system-level thinking, okay? Don't just think of clicks and click-through rates and CPCs, because your goal is to align the campaigns with what your sales force wants for leads, for what your company wants for sales. And track performance and make adjustments. You know, don't move too quickly and choose the dynamite over the beep beep ad, but don't suffer from analysis paralysis and never make a decision, okay? Set good goals and work towards them. I mean, I think that's the major, you know, again, that's the recipe for, you know, good living no matter what your occupation might be. Search engine land is just a trove, an absolute treasure trove of information. And some of the columnists that are on there are putting stuff out there that is just, I mean, it's right at the front edge. Some of it's, you know, very to-do, some of it's theoretical, some of it's conceptual. But man, every day there's good stuff out there. Same thing on Search Engine Watch and Guide. Get some tools. If you don't know how to do A/B testing, you know, either go buy yourself an old stats book or, you know, use something like an A/B tester. Once you've gotten up on your campaigns, you'll want to maybe look at systems or tools to help you automate and manage over time. And there are plenty of systems and tools out there. By the way, when I say systems versus tools, tools do one like little thing, like they concatenate words together, they test your ads. A system will do bid management, it will do reporting, it will do, you know, all those sorts of things. So systems like Acquisio, Click Equations, Marin, they're all down in the exhibit hall. Go check them out. Read. These are two very good books. Andrew Goodman wrote Winning with AdWords. Dave Zatella, Joe Kirschbaum, and Michael Flores, a recent book, Pay-Per-Click in an Hour a Day. Again, just disciplining yourself every day to do something different on your campaigns. Well, that wraps up our Paid Search Fundamentals course. I know we've only barely scratched the surface of all the things you're going to need to know to be successful, but the real training begins when you go back to your office and start applying the types of things that we talked about here today. I want to tell you that even though you're a beginner, you actually have a natural advantage over your more experienced competitors and colleagues. And the reason is they're stuck in their old ways. You, as a beginner, are learning the newest things that search engines are doing, and they change them every day. So if you just work hard, pay attention to details, and try to get better every day, you're soon going to catch up with your competitors and pass right by them. So goodbye, and best of luck in all of your PPC advertising. Thank you.
My name is Ingrid.
I'm very much a newbie in all of this. So currently I'm paying a marketer, I'm not even sure what their title is, to get my client sites up on top. I've got 4 web pages right now that are on Google, Bing, and Yahoo.
Okay.
Now, is he using these kinds of tools in order to get my client sites? Is he doing a pay-per-click? Because it's coming up right now as just the top ad. So
if it's an ad, he's using like either Google AdWords or Bing's Ad Center. Yes.
Okay, so basically with these tools, I should be able to do that and then cut him out of that. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Sorry, he'll lose money.
Well, no. I think, well, you know, I think you bring up a really good point. okay? There's a point where someone reaches diminishing returns and has a campaign that's running along very nicely, okay? But sometimes knowing when to take your hands off the wheel is as important as knowing when you need to change things. So if you feel like you want to bring this in-house, which I encourage all of you to do, because this should be in-house knowledge, okay? But if you have someone and they brought a campaign and it's in good shape, number one, you've paid to have that campaign built, and he or she shouldn't give you any objection to bringing it in-house. They should also provide you with a couple of days to show you what they've done so that you can continue to run it successfully. So your goal should always be to integrate it internally. And if you think the campaign suffers after a while, bring another consultant in and say, what did I do wrong?
I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Because at this point, literally newbie, I'm seeing this saying sponsored ad. I don't know if he's doing pay-per-click on a global basis in all languages. I'm trying to figure out what he's doing so I can either implement it or how I can make changes to make it more efficient.
Well, have him send you a report, have him come in and go through it A to Z, take a half a day and do it. So I think it's all, and no matter what, if you're using an agency, and I encourage my clients to do this too, I think, you should audit what we're doing every year, every 2 years to make sure, we haven't run out of good ideas or to make sure we're doing the best stuff for you. Never think that it's all about relationship and friends and everything else. This is business stuff. So make sure, trust and verify. Bring in another consultant and say, tell me what you think of these campaigns. Is this a good deal or not? Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
Yes, sir.
I've got a PR6 site and PR6 site.
PR6.
And I'm looking for, I just launched a new set of campaigns. My consultant is telling me it's going to take me X period of time to have Google define the quality scores. Is that true?
No.
How long should it be taking to get the quality score actually as a relevant component in the bid rate so I don't have to overpay for the ads?
Okay.
Does that make sense, my question?
Well, it is. It is. Although I wouldn't use quality score. I wouldn't be overly focused. I wouldn't overly obsess on this quality score thing. Okay. It is a number. It is an important number, but I don't think that's the most important question to ask. But the short answer to your question is, as soon as you launch a campaign, you have a quality score. Okay. And your quality score is based on what you've done in that account prior. What these keywords historically are expected to be able to do in the region that they're being presented, okay? So if you, Addie Connor did a study here for SMX a couple of years ago and actually showed how you could juice your quality score up front. So if you bid a little higher into higher ad positions, you create this sort of a halo effect because you've got a higher click-through rate, which click-through rate is a strong component for quality score. And so she saw that, by the way, you don't get a good quality score just by having position number 1 and bidding to the top and having the highest click-through rate, okay? Because they normalize by ad position. So if they expect an ad to have a 3% click-through rate in position 4, they expect it to have a 15% up here, okay? And so they move things around, and so they'll determine it. But you will know right away whether you've got a good quality score. And no, it doesn't take very long to shake it out. I mean, it's almost instant.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, they begin determining.
Hi there.
Hey.
So I design landing pages, and we use
Excellent.
Google tools a lot at work, to determine the quality score and all those kind of things, and metrics and all that stuff. And I was wondering, what does Yahoo and Google's competitors use for that sort of thing, like A/B testing? Do they have a quality score, or is it just Google that has those kinds of things?
That's an excellent, excellent question. Google has had this thing called quality score. And quality score is basically their best algorithmic guess at what your performance is like. It takes into account your historical performance at the keyword plus the ad together, the keywords in your ad group together, your account, your campaigns, and then it also looks at your landing page and says it's either pass, fail, good page or not good page. So they've had this metric because it's what they call nudge economics. The idea is what we want to do is we want to encourage advertisers not to do stupid stuff. We want to reward them for making ads that are related to the keywords that are popular and get clicked on, that go to landing pages that work. I mean, this is good for everyone. So quality score is sort of a nudge economics kind of a thing to sort of nudge you in the right direction and give you a signal, one signal that says you're doing well or you're doing poorly. Ad Center and Microsoft have not had that sort of a thing. Yahoo did before they got absorbed into the Search Alliance. Excuse me, wrong term. Before Microsoft and Yahoo joined together into the Search Alliance. But this morning at a panel, Ratna Sharad, who's the product lead for Ad Center, did say that they will be announcing quality score, system shortly.
Resistance is futile.
What's that?
Resistance is futile.
Yeah, resistance is futile. It's good as sort of like a quick metric to say how am I doing, but don't over obsess. What's most important is are you making money or not. I have some keywords that have quality scores of 3 that I'm getting 10% of the cost of my acquisition. I don't care what the score is. And by the way, the score is relative to the other keywords in that particular category. Okay, so it's not an absolute type of thing. And if you wanted to build a campaign where you said I want to build a campaign that's got the highest quality score ever in the history of the universe. Okay, what you do is you build your keyword groups very conservatively. You use phrase and exact match. You use negatives to protect your phrase matches. You use put one keyword per ad group. Put a couple of ads in play, keep rotating them and taking your best click-through rate, and keep it a small campaign, and just you'll establish a good good quality score. But you know what? My question is, while you're going this slow, your competitors are doing more expansive campaigns and not paying attention to quality score, but paying attention to their top line. So it's a balance of going out slowly and conservatively, or just trying to reach the middle of your market as quickly as you can.
Thank you. Good information.
Great question.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions that are out there?
If you're using AdWords, do you think it affects your organic listings?
Boy, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
And then none of us would ever be on the search listing because only the biggest budgets would win. We are assured by every Google employee, every statement ever issued, that there's absolutely, and I believe it to be true, there's absolutely no relationship between your bidding on an ad and your organic rankings. Zero, zip, zilch. And I come across these people and say, oh no, man, I start advertising, and all of a sudden, I'm up at the top of the rankings. But you know what probably has happened? They know what keyword they're advertising on, and they actually check it more often. They probably were always at the top, and they didn't even know it on all these other terms. So it's I wouldn't put any credence in that. Now I think we've got 1 minute and 37 seconds for a question.
Yes.
So make it a good one. You're the final guy.
All right, I just wanted to share the experience of AdWord and the organic listing. So we've been advertising on Google as well as other ones since 2002. We had managed many different sites, and there have been times that we completely stopped AdWord because of the budget reason and the results that it was bringing to some of the sites. And what we noticed was we did definitely find a correlation between the organic results and the advertising on different search engines, especially on Google.
Yeah, but it's such, because results are individualized and IP addresses affect. I mean, there's so many variables that go into an experiment that I would tend to really want to see voluminous data, and so far the evidence I've seen has suggests that they're absolutely 100% correct. There's no relation.